flip a coin. You got a coin?
What? But Bob's going with.
Second amount.
Okay, we'll go ahead and have public comment. Sharon, you want to come up and state your name? Good morning.
Morning.
Excuse me. My name is Sharon Cutter. I'm from Green Eagle. And I'm here this morning. I first thank you guys all for the work you do. It's important work and it ain't easy.
Yeah.
At any rate, okay, thank you. I'm 74 years old. I've been a law-abiding, tax-paying resident, citizen of Todd County for 49 years. At any rate, I was falsely charged with criminal felony theft by Assistant Todd County Attorney Chris Brigman in May of 2023. As a convicted felon, I could have been in prison for 5 years, been forced to pay thousands of dollars in penalties, lost my position as an election judge, and my right to vote. After more than a year of significant stress and expense, the charges were dismissed and expunged from my record. I'm grateful. The missing illegally posted advertising signs in our road right-of-ways that I was charged with stealing were picked up by MnDOT as required by Minnesota Statute 160.2715. Did this businessman see me as a vulnerable old woman who perhaps he could exploit? I don't know. The criminal felony theft charges against me were fully dismissed in January, this past January, for reason of justice. At my expungement hearing on May 30th, Judge Benson demanded to know from Assistant County Attorney Brigman, how did this happen? He really emphasized the how. At any rate, Mr. Brigman softly stated, there was confusion. So Sheriff Allen and Attorneys Brigman and Lindemann had been confused by the by the unverified, unsubstantial, and pretty wacko statements of a persuasive local businessman. We are all human and we make mistakes, which is why it's important to have policies and procedures in place that will prevent mistakes and protect innocent citizens. I'm requesting the establishment of policies and procedures that, that will prevent false criminal charges and subsequent harm being brought against innocent citizens by county officials. These policies and procedures would also prevent significant expense to the county and to taxpayers due to unnecessary time spent by our county attorneys and even perhaps imprisonment, which would be very expensive of innocent people, of imprisonment of innocent people, excuse me. I've attempted to contact you folks before, and I do understand that Attorney Brigman has directed that you not be in touch with me. I don't know why. I don't know, perhaps to protect himself, I don't know. But would you please address these serious issues and communicate with me? I acknowledge, relative to everything else that you guys deal with, this is small. And even this issue of signs in the ditches is small. I don't know how it exploded. At any rate, if you please let me know how this can be addressed. I have added more information than you want, I suppose, anyway here, but this is the backup and how it happened, at least from my perspective and from their perspective. But at any rate, how can our sheriff and our county attorneys protect themselves from being manipulated by others? At any rate, I don't want to take any more of your time, but is this something that you can address? I don't know. I'm not. Is this anything that you can address? And not today, not right now, not in the next 5 minutes, but.
Yeah. No, during this comment time, we're here to listen and not to make
understand that. I
any
understand that.
decisions or anything. Right.
Absolutely, I get that. At any rate, I do sincerely thank each of you for your time. And I just don't want this to happen to anybody else. Cost $6,500 in attorney fees for me, and it was a really stressful and bad for my health. Thanks a lot.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. Sharon, you want to give a copy of that to Karen, please? You have an extra copy of your thing?
I do, and I'm
Want to give
looking
that
at
to Karen, please? She's from the Independent News Herald.
Okay, okay.
What's that? You have mine.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
So you made it back from Colorado, huh?
Montana.
Montana.
Yep. Yeah, that was good.
See moose and squirrel? I said, he might be overly impervious, so I can't answer that
Yep.
question.
We're gonna start. Oh, okay, Mike's turn. Sorry.
Oh, what happened?
Good morning, and welcome to the Todd County Board of Commissioners regular board meeting. Today is Tuesday, December 3rd. The time is 9 a.m. All commissioners are present, along with the auditor, treasurer, and the coordinator. Will now stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any amendments to the agenda?
I have none, Madam Chair.
Then I would like to have a motion for the approval of the agenda.
So, yeah, go ahead, Bob. I'll take second.
Moved Byers, second Nasca. Discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, and carries. Consent items, Denise?
Consent items today are the meeting minute approval for October 25th and November 4th, 2024. Gambling permit for National Wild Turkey Federation Stratton Blackbirds. The event will happen 2/1/25. Accept resignation of Angela Chamberlain, Administrative Assistant 12/2/24. Accept resignation of Eric Dahl, Seasonal Rec Assistant 10/10/24. Accept resignation of Nathan Benning, Seasonal Rec Assistant 8/11/2024. Accept resignation of Parker Duncan, Seasonal Rec Assistant 8/11/2024. Hire Accounting Specialist Katie Leslie, start date 12/23/24. Resignation Social Worker Teresa James 12/12/24. Resignation Social Worker Intern Cassandra Ortiz 11/22/2024.
Okay, after hearing the consent items, is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Motion by Denny. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Byers. Discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, and carries.
The first item I have then today is the auditor warrants for November. Background is sent for review. The recommendation is to approve the November 2024 auditor warrants with an ACH and a manual payment in the amount of $5,078,472.68.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the auditor warrants for $5,078,472.68?
So moved.
Motion by Newman. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Nasca. Discussion? Hearing no discussion, roll call.
Commissioner Newman?
Yes.
Commissioner Nasca?
Yes.
Commissioner Byers?
Yes.
Commissioner Denny?
Yes.
Commissioner Becker?
Yes.
The next item then is the commissioner warrants. Background is sent for review. Recommendation is to approve the commissioner warrants with an ACH and a manual payment totaling the amount of $118,005.50.
Okay, I ask for a motion for the commissioner warrants for the amount of $118,005.50.
So moved.
Motion by Denny. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Nasca. Discussion?
Madam Chair, if I may,
Yes.
on this one? I see we've got one that's for a consulting firm in here, Red Cedar. Just for future reference, I would like to see those kind of expenditures come across the full board prior to going forward with those when we're going for consulting or outside legal counsel. I just like to see them come across and come across the whole board before those just run through.
Do we know,
And I'm not saying we shouldn't pay it. That's just fine.
do we know who uses Red Cedar?
That was an auditor warrant, or those commissioner warrants come through from the department,
Okay,
and then they're paid out. The commissioner warrants are sent to you guys, so you guys can review them and then ask us the questions, so that we can get you the information prior to. I believe Red Cedar is through the administration office.
okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Roll call.
Commissioner Denny,
Yes.
Commissioner Nasca,
Yes.
Commissioner Byers,
Yep.
Commissioner Newman,
Yep.
Commissioner Becker.
Yes.
Okay, the next item I have would be the Health and Human Service Commissioner warrants. Background is sent for your review. Recommendation is to approve the Health and Human Service Commissioner warrants with an ACH and a manual payment totaling the amount of $108,235.55.
Okay, is there a motion for the Health and Human Service Commissioner warrants for the amount of $108,235.55?
So move.
Motion by Newman, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Danny. Discussion. Hearing no discussion, roll call?
Commissioner Newman,
Yes.
Commissioner Denny,
Yes.
Commissioner Byers,
Yep.
Commissioner Nasca,
Yes.
Commissioner Becker.
Yes.
The last item I have then is the Health and Human Service SSIS warrants. Background is sent for review. Recommendation is to approve the Health and Human Service SSIS warrants with an ACH and a regular payment totaling in the amount of $70,985.64.
Okay, I'd ask for a motion for the Health and Human Services SSIS warrants
So moved.
in the amount of $70,985.64. A motion by Nasca.
Thank
Is
you.
there a second?
Second.
Second by Danny. Discussion? Hearing no discussion, roll call.
Commissioner Nasca?
Yes.
Commissioner Denny?
Yes.
Commissioner Byers?
Yep.
Commissioner Newman?
Yes.
Commissioner Becker?
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. We'll go into the county assessor. Chris, good morning.
Morning,
Morning,
Chris.
Chris. I am here today to present an abatement on parcel 02-001050. Background on this is the house located on this parcel was burned on July 27th, 2023. And the owner has filed an abatement for the 2023 assessment, taxes due in 2024. Some of the background in the packet that I included was the the field sheet on the parcel that shows, Denise, do you want to scroll? Thank you.
You want to be there?
This shows the total value change, the total reduction. The next sheet, you can see a picture of the house and the value of each item that was destroyed. And the third doesn't have much. One more, please. Shows the calculations in the difference in taxes. These disaster abatements, the amount in tax is only for the full months that the object wasn't there. So in this case, it'd be $573. So the options today are to approve the abatement request for $573 for the 2024 taxes, or to deny the abatement. Recommendation is to approve the abatement as presented.
Okay, is there a motion for the abatement on 02-00105000, the amount of $573? And please state if you want to approve or disapprove.
I make the motion to approve the abatement.
Okay, motion by Denny to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Nasca. Discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed and carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mike.
Good morning.
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 So I'm here to request basically a signature to accept the grant that on May 21st, Todd County Board of Commissioners was presented with a board action to support the intent for Todd County Emergency Management to apply for an Allied Matrix Radio Emergency Response, or ARMOR Radio Equipment Grant. As part of this effort, I contacted all the cities in Todd County with fire departments to gauge interest in the participation in the grant. Of those contacted, only the city of Staples returned a signed sub-grantee agreement, and other cities either did not respond or expressed no interest in participating. The required application packet was submitted to the Department of Public Safety, Division of Emergency Communications on June 27th, 2024. On September 27th, 2024, Todd County received notification that its application was selected to receive the max, which was $40,000 in funding through the Armor Grant, grant program. Following this, the state e-grants process was completed with the submission occurring on November 13th. On November 22nd, the Department of Public Safety Emergency Communications Network created a grant contract agreement. This document requires a signature from the board chair and the auditor treasurer before it can be uploaded to the final process to be accepted. And once it receives all its signatures, the grant can be executed. Once the agreement is fully executed by state signatures, at that point, the coordination, I will be coordinating with the Staples Fire Department, which we've already identified radios that need to be replaced on the fire department's rig. So the options are to approve the board chairs to sign and the auditor treasurer to sign the contract, or to not approve the contract.
Okay, I would ask for a motion to allow the board chair and the auditor treasurer to sign the contract for the armor equipment grant.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Byers, second by Newman. Discussion?
Yeah, Madam Chair. Mike, any idea why the other cities didn't want to participate?
What I heard was some of them just didn't want to spend the money, and it was only 5%.
Right.
That they had to contribute, but it wasn't a lot of money actually to go for, so to go through all the rigmarole for it too was probably a little bit, you know, it's not a very big grant. We're hoping next year we'll see a bigger grant come through, but
Okay,
it wasn't a very big grant at this point.
okay, thank
Okay.
you.
Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And carries. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Good morning, Mike.
One board action from the sheriff's office this morning. Sheriff's office received our annual DNR snowmobile grant for the fiscal year of 2025. That amount is not to exceed $7,240. So our options is to accept that DNR snowmobile grant or do not, and our recommendation is to accept that grant for the 2025 fiscal year.
Okay, I'd ask for a motion for the sheriff, or to accept this DNR snowmobile grant for the fiscal year of 2025, not to exceed $7,240.
So moved.
Motion by Noska. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Denny. Discussion. Mike, can you just use it for equipment then, or?
No, this is just for our labor costs.
For
There's a
the labor
different
part of
DNR.
it.
Some of it can be used, but it's guided differently.
Okay. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And carries. Thank you,
Thank you.
Mike.
Morning, Madam Chair.
Good morning.
Commissioners.
Morning.
Few board action forms. First one being is the request to hire a public health nurse. Some background, the public health nurse job description has been updated to include the WIC coordinator duties. The WIC coordinator position will no longer be needed with the addition of the public health nurse addition. Your options are to authorize hiring one public health nurse or to not authorize. It's our recommendation that we approve hiring you approve hiring the public health nurse.
Okay. I'd ask for a motion to hire a public health nurse, and this is a change of the job description, correct? It'll be the same number of people, just change of job description.
Right, and will help us, yes. better
Okay.
use that position more widely.
This come through personnel, I'll move it.
Okay. Motion by Newman. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Danny. Discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And carries.
Great,
Thank
we'll
you.
post that internally, and then hopefully bring back the elimination of the WIC coordinator after we hire for this position.
Okay.
Great. All right, our next board action form is to bring back two contracts, the next two board action forms. The first one being STEP. Some background, STEP provides day training and habilitation and supportive employment services for clients with mental health and developmental disabilities. STEP receives referrals from Todd County and other counties to provide these services. Your options are to approve the STEP purchase of service and host county contract renewal, or not approve. It's our recommendation that you go ahead and approve the purchase of service and host county contract renewal. The attached contract did have a revision on it, and it said county of, so it was Amanda at Sourcewell on behalf of Todd County, and similar with the
Right,
second
I
contract as
seen
well.
that. Okay, I'd ask for a motion to approve the STEP contract.
So move.
Motion by Byers. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Nazca. Discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Great. The next board action form is similar to the last. The Northern Pines Purchase of Service Agreement Renewal. Some background, Northern Pines provides a variety of mental health services to eligible adults and children in Todd County. The services provided are detailed in the attached Purchase of Service Agreements Renewal. Your options are to approve Northern Pines Purchase of Service Agreements Renewal or to not approve. It's our recommendation you approve the Northern Pines Purchase of Service Agreements Renewal.
Okay, I ask for a motion for the approval of Northern Pines Purchase of Service Agreement.
So moved.
Motion by Denny. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Byers. Discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And carries.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks, Jackie.
Good morning, Jackie.
We're moving fast here. Okay. So just a little background. This is for the Safe and Secure Courthouse Grant Award. Earlier this summer, I was contacted by our court security team, and they made me aware that there was a grant that was available through Safe and Secure Courthouse Grant, and they thought that it might be good for us to try for it. A few years back, we had a gentleman from Homeland Security come in conjunction, working with Mike Wisniewski, our EMS director, and they did a walkthrough of our facilities, specifically looking at the courthouse area, the court security area. And they, at that time, he developed a report for us. So I started with that gentleman, and he said that he would revise the report, take a look at it again, and if we had not made any of the updates that he had recommended, that he would go ahead and sign off on a new report. So he did that, and I applied for the grant. At the time, I applied for approximately $150,000, which is what all of the items that were in the report basically came to estimated. And so we applied for it, and wow, we got it. So exciting. On behalf of Todd County, I applied for the amount, and they did give us a little bit less because we included at that time the Staples location for court services, and that's no longer a location where court facilities are held. So that piece was taken out, the Staples facility. That left the rest of the amount of $101,171.50. So the items that are listed that will be included that we will use the funds for is to replace our metal detector, which is over 10 years old, installing bulletproof film in court administration and community corrections, adding a new camera and video system for the stairway that goes up to the courtroom facility, as there's a blind area there where there's no camera or no ability to see that stairwell. Installing lighting and cameras in our 2 county parking lot areas, creating a safe exit area in the county attorney combined community corrections area, upgrading the current keypad entry system around the courtroom facilities, and that might mean then hopefully going to more of a badge system. I believe right now they have an outdated keypad system in that area, and that needs to be updated. Some of our utilities need lock boxes installed on them, and then also recommendation was to put in some barriers in front of the court facilities. So I haven't gotten into the specifics of all of these things. We do have until, I believe it's 2026, to institute all of the things that are included in the grant. But pretty excited. When I notified our court security team, they were really happy. These are some things that they've been looking for updates. So the recommendation would be to accept the 2024 Safe and Secure Courthouse Grant Fund. The fund paperwork requires our chair to sign off on it, as well as myself. Or the other option is to do not accept the 2024 Safe and Secure Courthouse Grant Fund, and the recommendation would be to accept the funds.
First of all, thank you. I'd ask for a motion for the 2024 Safe and Secure Courthouse Grant Award for $101,171.50.
So moved.
Motion by Newman. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Noska. Discussion.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
There's hundreds of thousands of dollars out there that this
Yeah.
county could go after.
Yeah.
You went after it. You're showing that you can get money for us. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, money is good.
Yes.
It's always good.
Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And it carries. Thank you, Jackie.
Jackie?
Jackie.
Okay. We're going for a record today,
We flew through that.
and we'll go into standing reports. Auditor Treasurer.
Since our last meeting, we had the recount, and congratulations to Commissioner Becker. Our election tabulators stand as is. You won by 1 vote. We canvassed that result following the recount, and then the state canvassing was held on the 26th. And I'm very proud to say that Todd County's machines and everything came out to the exact numbers. We even had a peer audit, and we brought in Osaka City and Little Sauk Townships, and those election judges sat and went through every ballot as well, and theirs all tabulated exactly. So I'm very firm on our integrity of elections in Todd County. Ag taxes were collected, and as you can see by today's Commissioner warrants, the settlement was paid out to the jurisdictions. And next week we'll be attending AMC conference down the cities, myself and a few commissioners. Looking forward to that conference. It's always good. And that's about all I have on my report.
Okay, thank you. County Coordinator.
In the last few weeks, we had an RVIG presentation to our broadband committee and the community about the broadband installation they've done and then their future plans. And in the last week or so, we found out that just because of that community meeting, we did have 5 more residents near Browerville that are going to be able to get a broadband grant to have it installed. I attended a Better Health Collective meeting, went to the Public Works Fall Road meeting, have reached out to Todd County Cities, working with Cannabis Ordinance, and Adam Ossifort from Planning and Zoning. We had our Wellness Committee, we're planning for the holiday party. And we met with a new vendor for payroll and onboarding to review their software. And finally, last night, I attended the Todd Wadena Community Corrections meeting in Wadena.
Okay. We'll start with Commissioner Denny.
Yeah, we had our, obviously like Jackie Bauer said, we had a fall road meeting there, Public Works, that was a great discussion. Looking forward to working with Lauren and his team on doing a few different, look at a few different avenues, how we can improve that a little bit too. Along with that, I had a few other meetings that doubled up, being it was a short week with the holidays, I had to pick and choose. Also was here for the recount, went through that for the first time, that was very exciting. And then, stayed after for canvassing and that as well. Pleased with how all the staff came together and worked on that. That's a ton of work for Jolene and Denise there. That was impressive. So thank you for that. Again, I was like it's a short week holiday. Went on a hunting trip as well, and that's all I have for now. I think I'm forgetting something. I know I am, but next.
Commissioner Newman.
Yes, Madam Chair. Attended Sauk River Watershed meeting, did the fall road meeting, policy. CPT, we are getting $45,000. Our reserves get so high, we want to keep it at that 6 month or to a year. So all the counties that invested into CPT got a check for $45,000. So that should help our budget maybe a smidgen.
Yes, we
But
did.
it'll help.
We did receive that dividend check already.
Okay, all right. Otherwise, it was personnel and attended Paul Siegel's retirement and wished him well. And that's all I got.
Okay. Commissioner Byers.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As many people went to the fall potluck and went to Paul Siegel's retirement, which I think was 32, 33 years of service for the county, so that was great. Really enjoyed seeing him and his family. They were pretty happy. Also attended the fall road meeting, which I think we probably all of us need to have a longer discussion about. There was some discussion there about the fact that the number of tarred roads that have been done along Prairie, or excuse me, in Todd County in the last 10, 15 years have been very, very minimal. And how do we fund that? And I mean, there were no like answers given, but I think we need to start looking at this gas sales tax again and what the process is to make that happen, to possibly increase that. If this is a big deal for people and it's that important, we have to come up with a funding source. And we all know that come Wednesday, tomorrow, we have truth in taxation. We're gonna have people talking to us about their property taxes. So funding it with property taxes to me is not an option. Funding it with a use tax that other people potentially pay when they drive through here and gas up is an option. So our team has done a great job with securing some of these funding sources, which is amazing, over $150-some thousand just today announced. But it's probably a lengthy process for our finance team, but as we know in this government, it takes forever to get something done, so I suggest we do it now, as soon as we can, whether that's with the new leadership board or whenever. I suggest we get it, start on it now. Last thing I have is the, had Todd County Watershed Policy meeting, which also was a very rambunctious meeting. There's some issues with some of the lakes in Otter Tail that are high and going over the roads, and the Douglas County folks were not going to allow water to come to their areas. So we've seen a lot of these things that can be contentious and, but we got to come up with solutions. So that board is working on a solution for that lake. That's all I got.
Okay, Commissioner Alaska.
Yeah, most of the things have been said already. Let's see here. Oh, was that housing and redevelopment was one of those ones that stood out to me after the last meeting. Anyway, we didn't have a quorum in October, so we had a double meeting in November, so it was a little longer than usual. But the roofs on a couple of our buildings were replaced from hail damage. It was nice, nice insurance claims, I guess, if you call it that way. But when it doesn't cost us anything, that works nice. And then we had community corrections yesterday, and the the Eagle Bend building, it seems like it's just about finalized. There's a couple little loose ends to tie up, and the numbers are looking good. So it looks like we're not expending anything extra out of our funding there. So it's nice that that whole thing's done without pulling any dollars from elsewhere.
Myself, I went to the Morris and Todd Wadena CHB. We had our meeting. Also had the recount of the election, and I thank all the people that were involved, all the elected judges that are out there working through the elections and so forth. It was quite a lengthy length of time for some of us. I also attended personnel. We had a corrections meeting. I attended the road meeting, and I also agree with Bob that through the campaigning and so forth, heard a lot about our roads out there. A lot of negativity-ness that we're not tarring any longer, new roads. It's been several years. Attended the Friendly Rider meeting in Wadena, and also attended the potluck here at the courthouse. And we'll be attending the AMC meeting this coming weekend in the cities, along with Commissioner Byers.
Yeah, if I may, Madam Chair, I was just gonna mention that I guess I'm piggybacking other people's thing with the recount, what's going on in Scott County, Minnesota right now.
Yeah.
There are 14 votes separated, candidate 1 and candidate 2, and they got 21 votes missing. I mean, they're probably gonna have to do an entire re-vote. Yeah, I don't, we'll see whether.
I don't know what
It'll
will
go into legal, but the fact that our team on the night of the election had us 1 vote separated in the direction of Commissioner Becker, and then that was re-verified as the same way. It goes a long way in saying the people we had working, the training they received, the process worked really, really well. I mean, that's a real tip of the hat to those folks that did that, so thank you very much.
Yeah, and to be able to go through every vote, I mean, and even the people that didn't vote, to make sure that every vote was accurate I'd never been through one. It was amazing.
Process, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's like kudos to your team.
That was astonishing too, if I just made one more
Yes,
comment.
absolutely.
The no votes, how many people chose to not vote on a commissioner that affects your backyard directly? And it's just, I found that very, very intriguing.
Yeah,
that,
I did too. I mean, we see it, but when you see it in a recount and you're actually distributing the
And you
pile,
see the pile.
and the pile's growing of
Yeah,
a no vote, like no interest,
sat there for hours watching that middle pile grow and grow and grow,
Yeah.
and it was just a little bit disheartening.
yeah,
But,
it is.
So I think we need to try to figure out a way to bring some more awareness to some people and show them, like, if you wanna talk about your taxes, and you wanna talk about your roads, you know,
Exactly, if you have concerns, this
right.
is your time
That's your
to
time to vote.
make your
and-
voice
Absolutely.
heard.
Okay, I'm done.
Yes. Mr. Byers?
Yeah, one more thing, Madam Chair. Since the last week or so, I've had a few discussions with different people and kind of understanding how the whole idea of standing reports for committees, commissioners, coordinators, auditors, everybody has come around. And probably before my time, there might have been questions, did people even attend these meetings and go to their committee assignments and stuff like that? And I think this is the time that we are given to report to the public and to our employees and to our constituents that we've been to these meetings. And then just, as I've been speaking a little bit longer than I usually do here, I'm encouraging myself and maybe the rest of us to maybe report a little bit more about these committee meetings, because maybe some of the questions that don't get answered will get answered. Some of the questions that I have in my mind about what happened here, what happened there, what's going on with finance, what's going on with my facilities committee amount or extension that Barbara and I are on, whatever. This is the time to talk about them because we're together, we're
Right.
not breaking any open law meetings. And then maybe there's not calls later on from our constituents or our employees or each other not understanding what's going on in those committees, okay? Thank you.
Okay. Is there anything else to come before this board? If not, I'd ask for a motion to recess until December 17th.
So moved.
Motion by Byers, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Nasca. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And we are recessed until December 17th. We'll take a short 5-minute break and 5 minutes? Good morning, Mitch.
Do you want to open the work session?
Yep, I will. Welcome to the Tuesday, December 3rd, Todd County Work Session. The time is 9:41. Mitch is first.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. I'm here today to talk to you and just inform the board of after a facilities meeting we had, it was recommended that I come to the board for a work session and just explain the parking lot project that we're talking about, which is obviously across the road, the future parking lot, and just some of the things that we put in there for options and give the board a chance to give some recommendations, something that they would like to see, or if they're okay with where we're at, so we can keep the process moving. So if you could click on Jolene, I don't know if you can get the screen, and you can skip the first couple pages. They're just basically our design from Winseth, kind of what we're looking into, some items. Scroll down a little bit, and then I'll probably go up to the screen. Keep going, just to make it a little bit easier. Okay, right there, that first page, up one. Thank you, perfect. All right, so what we did in preliminary discussion, this would be the future parking lot location. There's roughly 44 spots in the parking lot, and will be angled parking. This is the north, so this is the alleyway. It'll be a one-way coming in and then going back out. The water drainage will be then drained off to a swale in here, and that will take care of the water drainage. The option that we also did want to look at, and this was recommended by our Public Works Director, was because we're going to tar this location, right? We wanted the option, or to give the board an option of picking up the potential parking lot of the hilltop parking as well. That would be a resurfacing. The reason for this is cost effectiveness, right? We're always looking and being cautious with that. This is something that, I want to lean a little bit heavily on our Public Works Director, because he's obviously, this is more in his line of work. So he was like, I would definitely recommend it, look into it at least, and go from there. So we at this time, we have this as our preliminary base bid, and this as an option. We're also going to, we also have an option of a privacy fence along here. We'd like to do this with this parking lot in between here and the school's parking lot, is kind of clean it out. It has some ugly looking trees in it, so then we put a privacy fence back in to just kind of separate those two spots. Also, one of the things that we talked about with Winseth, our professional services design, was a way for our employees and constituents to get from this parking lot up to the hilltop parking, at least to the flat area. If you could scroll down a little bit, Denise, I think this is. You want me to go this way? Yep. Oh, maybe one more. Okay, well, it's a little bit tough to see because this is the flow, but one of the areas we have is right in this area, right in here, is where we'll be potentially adding a walkway to keep people, because one of the things that we do have right now is we have a lot of foot traffic that will go up the hill as cars are coming down, and we're trying to find a way to avoid that. So at least when we get them up to this area, up on the flat surface, we'll then have a crosswalk area. We'll also be adding a handicap accessibility area, so it'll be a sloped area instead of just a curb for the individuals to cross and get across that way as well. So that's what we're looking at as the project goes on. That's kind of the gist of it. The base model, again, we'll be having as options, and you can take and remove what you wish. The option of the privacy fencing, we will be removing the trees either way on the surface, just because we need to make our parking lot flat, and they need to deal with water and drainage. This way, by removing the trees, we can better get a grip on that. The other option that's not on this is, I shouldn't say option, but other design that wasn't included so far, it will be a part of the bidding process, is the lighting. At this point, we're gonna keep the lighting on the exterior edges of the parking lot, just for ease of snow removal, parking, those type of things. So that's kind of the base of it. Obviously, with the parking across the road, we have had good use as of right now, just how it sits. But we want to give our constituents and our employees a chance to do give them something that's quality and stable that'll last. So that's where we're at. They will also be one other quick thing. The design of it, right, will flatten out, so it goes from this, which would be the southeast corner. This corner is where they will exit the parking lot and get onto the sidewalk. This will be level, so that's how much dirt needs to be removed from over there as well. So it is pretty extensive dirt work to get it packed in and get it back right. So that's where everybody will be exiting to get onto the sidewalk and then go across the crosswalk and up the hill or wherever they need to go.
Mitch, one of the questions we had during facility
Yep.
was just that corner is going to be the sidewalk. You're not going to remove all the dirt from the whole parking lot to make it all level with the sidewalk.
We will not, so it'll just be a 1% to 2% grade depending
Just
upon. Yes.
on
so-
that corner.
So this particular corner will be the corner that is flat.
Yes.
The rest of it will be sloped as designed, so it'll be a 1% to 2%. This
Yeah.
middle section will actually, everything will kind of slope in this direction towards the swale. The swale will be approximately like 18 inches deep, and then have riprap and rock that'll take care of the drainage on it. So we're just being cognizant of this, so we can deal with water issues that may arise. So this was part of the design by Winseth, and Jeremy from Winseth, who attended the last meeting, explained it pretty well. So.
Mitch, can I ask a question?
Yep.
I just know from all the congestion on that street with the school, when we're coming into that new parking lot, is there gonna be like just a one-way where you go around the circle and go back out?
So
How's
yes,
the
it will
flow of
be a
traffic?
one-way parking, and
an
one-way
alley.
in and out.
Yeah,
It will
can you
not
show-
be, oh, yep, absolutely. So our parking lot, this is the north, correct? So this would be the South Street. Here's the school down in this area. You'll be entering in this direction and then exiting back out here and back out this way.
Perfect, okay.
So it will make the alley just a little bit wider by us doing this. And when we do our tarring of our parking lot, there'll be an adjustment made in there.
I think
Yes.
you're gonna enter in the
farther
west
along.
side. You're gonna enter the west side and exit the east side of that lot.
Yeah,
Yes, correct, yes.
You can't make the swing on the left with some
I was
bigger.
gonna say,
Correct, yes.
okay.
Does that make sense?
I just wanna make sure
Yeah,
that everybody
I-
knows that
sorry.
your intent though is you come in
Yes,
one way.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct.
I'm just saying your intent was they come in one way
Yes.
and they go
out the
around a
other.
loop and then out.
Yes, correct.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair, if I may?
Yes.
So Mitch, right now, do you know how many people we've got parking there on average per day?
So
I mean, it's just a
it's-
question,
Okay, so it's less than 44 at this time. It's roughly about 30 to 35 employees, depending upon how they park. Employees have been doing a very good job of parking there in general. We have seen a little bit of an uptick of employees that used to park in the Justice Center parking lot that are now parking over here, which actually frees up some parking for constituents and what have you. So
And what is this gonna have, you said?
44 roughly.
44, so it'll be more than.
Yep, more
that,
than
and it'll-
what's currently parking there. It's just obviously when you don't have anything in specific to hold a vehicle in place, they tend to get a little bit wider with the line
Right.
and those
Well,
type
it'll
of
be
things.
nice.
It'll-
Maybe it'll free up a little bit of it up here on the hill too at times.
Absolutely. So one thing we will be doing is looking at, once the parking lot's established, how we want to deal with the parking, where employees can park, where we want constituents to park, how much handicap accessibility parking we want to. So we'll relook it and revisit those things once we get the parking lot established.
Thanks, Mitch.
The other discussion that was talked, at least, I guess maybe I brought it up, I'm not sure if it was agreed upon, but was the signage, like if you go to that lot, you know where to go to the courthouse, you know where to go to HHS, you know which way to go to administration, because
Yeah.
right now, there really isn't,
Right.
you know, you
Signage.
come up here and you park somewhere, like, okay, where do I pay my property
Taxes.
taxes? Where,
Yep.
you know, which, you know, so.
Yep, absolutely, and that'll be something that we do as the project goes on. That'll just be an end cap with it. We can obviously make our own signage with our sign guys, so we'll be doing that kind of as a cap off of the project to, hey, we have these new items and give people a better understanding of what's going on in the parking lots and where things are found in the complex.
when's the start date? Or when are you
We're
proposing?
the start date will be, so first we have to come here, obviously, then we have to get approval to go out for bid. We're hoping to go out for bid yet this month, so I'll probably, with the board's recommendation, probably try and come back to the December 17th to get approval to go out for bid, as long as everybody's okay with the options that we've provided. And then once we get that approval and we'll have the final documentation from them, we will go out for bid after probably December 17th, if at all possible. So we're looking at the spring. It's just if we get into the December and January months, usually we can be first or second on somebody's line to do this right away in the spring. So that's the hope, and that was the hope by Winseth, our professional services. So that'll be our approach, is to get on there. And then, obviously, until we get the final contract and get the contractor, we'll find out the final dates of what their start dates will be at that point. So we're a little bit away from that, but that's our goal and that's our hope.
Financing?
Financing, this will be probably, not probably, it will be coming out of the facilities improvement funds. We're hoping to stay under budget for that as well. We have roughly about $1.3 million right now at this time in that improvement funds. Obviously, we're looking to not only fund this project, but other projects as well. We also have budgeted for additions to that fund in 2025 as well, which will indicate an increase in that amount. So there should be funds available, and we've been budgeting for that annually to take responsibility for the projects we're doing, so.
Okay. And that's by just putting money away every year to be able to build
Absolutely, it's a
that up?
facility improvement fund. We put an X amount of dollars put away every year. We've done it every year since I've started, and it's helped us tremendously with our budgeting process.
Okay.
I'd like to just comment, that's why we started the facility committee in
Absolutely.
2014 when I came on, because there was no
It
money.
was 10 years.
And
yeah.
it took 10 years to fund the seeds of 1.3 million. So it's
Yeah.
awesome that we do that.
Yeah, it's been going really well. We've been lucky and fortunate to receive funding from other sources that have helped us out as well. But we're in a very nice spot, and we're playing a little catch up, but we're getting there, so.
Very good. Okay, any other questions, comments? Okay, we'll look forward to seeing this coming into maybe the next board meeting then.
Absolutely, we'll make sure we're there. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Mitch.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The home improvement grants available?
Madam Chair, I don't think Janelle is quite here from Douglas County yet, so I'm wondering if we could
Hi.
she is here, okay, sorry.
Good morning.
Timing.
Oh, if you want to
Right in
just come up
front.
here? Okay. Yep, I have a chair.
All right. I'm Janelle Bennett with Douglas County HRA, and we are expanding, we have for a couple of years now, rehab loan services to residents of Todd County as well. Right now, we don't have any more rural development grant money, but I am still working with the Minnesota Housing Rehab Loan Program and Emergency Loan Program. And I'm helping Todd County residents as well. This is a 15-year lien on the property. It can be up to $37,500 for the rehab loan or up to $27,000 for the emergency and accessibility loan. They have to own their home. It's no interest, no payments. As long as they live there for the 15 years, then it's forgiven. So it's a good option for some people. Others, it might not work out, but.
And these would be income-based loans
Yes,
then?
so the MHFA loans are kind of considered like the last resort. For a household of one, the annual income is $26,100 a year limit. For a family of four, it would be $37,300. And then assets cannot be more than $25,000.
Okay. And what can they use these funds for? Excuse me, Bob.
No, you go.
Yep.
Go ahead.
So these can be for mechanical, structural, energy and accessibility improvements, windows, doors, roofs, siding, and then also like ramps or widening doors to fit wheelchairs, things like that, making the home more accessible.
Commissioner Byers?
Hi.
Hi.
Did you say the term is 15?
Yes, this
1.5?
is a 15-year deferred.
15-year deferred, and then, but there's no interest accruing during that time?
Correct, correct.
Okay.
And it also does not go down, so year 14, it would be the same amount as year 1 if they were to sell, so. Real development grant, we will be writing for that again. That one is a 10-year lien that does start to depreciate after 5 years. So we're hoping in 2025 we get that grant again. And then the income limits are significantly higher for that one as well.
Oh, okay.
What was that one called?
The Rural Development Housing
Okay,
Preservation
rural
Grant.
development.
We're out of funds for that one right now.
Okay.
Now, the MHFA funds, that's always been, that doesn't have a deadline. We don't see it going away anytime soon, so.
Go ahead.
Do you provide like the assistance in these applications, I'm assuming, because?
Yes, as much help as they need, for sure. We have to collect things like their warranty deed and bank statements and things like that, so it can get a little bit cumbersome. But if they need assistance, we can help.
What, for your emergency loan, that has the same, what can they use that one for then?
That could be things like if their furnace went out and they don't have the energy assistance program to get it replaced. Sewers, a lot of structural things I'm helping with.
Okay.
Yeah, their house is starting to sink and that can be used for emergency loans. Yeah.
Do you work with a
Also,
lot of,
Otter Tail Power had been redlining a couple properties here. We had to help them with that too, the electrical updating.
do you work with a lot of Todd County residents or not?
I actually have been getting a lot of phone calls lately, correct?
You are, okay.
And it has to be, so we can't do manufactured housing unless it's in a mobile home park. But otherwise, any, just normal built houses.
Okay. Any other questions? Questions for us?
Janelle, what would be the best way for a resident to get in touch with you? Should they call you, or if they want to find out more about this program?
Yep, definitely. Do you want my number?
Is that the 762?
3848.
Okay,
correct.
320-762-3848, and your name is Janelle from the HRA Douglas County.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, okay,
Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Next, Luann and.
There you go.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having us back. Button. Okay, so since our last discussion around childcare, we have been kind of working through a timeline. And I think at this work session, we'd really like to kind of go through the original discussion on our end. And I just sent it to you, Jackie, on your email. I don't know if you can get it up on the screen. No, just a general schedule.
A Word doc or a PDF.
Word doc.
It's just like a listing of kind of what we see next steps.
Yeah.
But really want your input from the county's perspective on what next steps might be from your perspective as well.
So at our last meeting, we had talked about applying for the deed grant, which was $600,000 and with a match. And due to the timeline, the crunch, we decided to postpone that until September of 2025. If it comes out in September, it might come out in October. So we have a timeline just because the year goes so quickly. And so we were thinking we need to formally ask the county to budget money for child care pod system. Formally, because you didn't have it in your budget before. And so, oh, you don't have it?
Could you resend it? Lou, it didn't.
Okay. Oh, sorry.
Oh.
Okay, there you go.
I think she
Okay,
was
so-
sending that at the same time as she got your email to come over now, and we're like, okay, we're coming.
Exactly.
We're on our way.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, Jackie, there we go. Yeah. Browse, plan, open, and send.
That little green one on it stopped.
Isn't it amazing how fast things get? Okay, so in general, we were talking about budgeting money for the $600,000, or let's say for possibly being a landlord, the county being a landlord, budgeting money to help with the pod system. Not necessarily a total of $600,000, but some amount that would help us. And then we could also fundraise for the rest. We also wanted to ask the county to set aside additional funding for existing childcare providers for general needs, sort of like farm subsidies, like on a yearly basis, having an amount of money there for other childcare providers, because this would be the pod system for the 6 pods, but it would not help or assist the other childcare providers in Todd County. So.
And this is the exact spot we're at. This is all we're really referring to right now.
Yeah.
There's 2 other pages of just kind of like backup documentation stuff.
So, and then in January, we'd like to have a childcare appreciation dinner where we also ask for needs. What are your needs? And that could help us then have this conversation with the county about what is it we could provide on a yearly basis. Do they need fences for their, do they need playground? Do they need fences? Do they need health care? Other benefits?
Redone.
Yeah, sidewalk redone, interior updates. So not only assisting us with the pod system, but also assisting on a general basis every year with a fund that could help other child care providers.
And again, that's another detail to work through. It is something that is recommended by state and other organizations, and there is some potential of applying for funding to add to that pot of money, but the cities can do it, so can the county. So if there was some money set aside, there's potentially matching funds to help double that pot, and then it can actually expand throughout all of Todd County. And really what that does is helps retain existing providers. So when they're looking at their licensing or they're getting inspections and they're told you have to do this or you're gonna lose your license, and they maybe can't do that, it'll help retain them.
They can come to us, yeah.
They can
come to the county and apply, and we'd hope to make it a very simple application.
Right. And then also for those who are looking to get their homes in order to open a new home-based childcare, that would also be able to assist them, so that we can add additional providers in the meantime throughout Todd County.
So we can make it more sustainable, and we won't have this problem hopefully in 5 years from now. What we're also going to be asking the city is for the Southwest Industrial Park lots, and for a lot for the playground. So it'll be 2 lots there. That would be their in-kind donation. And with maintenance, we still have to figure that out. How much would the county be helping, and how much would the city be willing to mow and snowplow around that area? And then stakeholders, we had 2 that are, Breitenfeld and Meckles had said that they would wait until they know how much is necessary or needed and would possibly step in and help us with that. And then Jessica Gilder from the Initiative Foundation, the number 7, She is trying to work with the Chamber of Commerce to get all childcare providers a chamber membership, because each one of them individually can't pay $100 to $200 a year, because that's extra money. But then the Chamber of Commerce could advertise for them, promote them if they have an opening, if they want to promote something new that they built at their childcare center, at their childcare facility. So, or we could also have a tab on our website with all childcare providers and photos of them, their houses, their addresses, just like we do now on the city website with childcare providers. We do have their names and their telephone numbers and address. Do you have any questions?
Lou, I would just like to say, on number 1, just for
Yes.
your record, so you know, if you're gonna formally come ask the county, we do our audit in May, and then we start finance already the 1st of June. So I wouldn't wait till August, because we're done with it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, thank you. And that's one of the reasons we're here, to see what your
A little
time
more
plan is,
discussion,
yeah.
yeah.
So you would say,
The first part of June is when you would want to come present at a work session, so that we can get it on finance committee.
so in May, we should start thinking about
Because May
gearing.
we do
Getting on
our
agendas and,
final audit is presented, and we don't start finance until that is presented.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Madam Chair.
and in June,
So
you do
Start the budget
That's the
process.
budgeting process.
start budgeting.
yesterday I got a email from Don Hickman from the Initiative Foundation.
Yes.
And there's funding available for multi-purpose community facility projects. And that is through the Minnesota Department of Education. There is $47.5 million available across Minnesota during this one-time funding initiative.
Yep.
And the maximum grant award amount is $500,000 and the minimum is $200,000 for each qualifying applicant. So,
Yes, that is on the radar, both myself, I know you're familiar with it, and then Jackie is also planning to sit in on the information session that they're doing. I think is that tomorrow or the next day.
yeah, the
This week.
webinar is tomorrow.
It's on the calendar. I don't know where I'm at right after this, so until I look at the calendar. But yes, that is on there. And so when we're looking at coming to the county, it's trying to figure out what it is that we're asking for. Obviously, if you're asking for $500,000, either you can ask for it, a lot of times they'll cut it depending on how many applications they get, especially when it's actual facilities. You know, I know they have a lot of money though, so, but if you can show that there's additional funds, it does help. In addition, we have identified Sourcewell, at least putting in for their, now I just lost the name of the, even as I was writing.
Third party? A third party one, or no?
No.
No, okay.
That's their large one, where they'll fund large projects. They used to do it as a scoring system. They don't do that anymore. They now basically draw them out of a hat. So we'll be submitting the project to them, and that can be a large source of funding as well. However, there's no guarantee, and it doesn't matter how competitive you are. So hopefully, if we're lucky, we can get drawn. But there are, again, you know, there are other sources that we are definitely looking for. So hopefully we'll have more of that identified come June. You know, where we can actually say this is a fact, we have this much settled in there. But I think on the county side, above and beyond the financial piece, we really need to understand your interest, willingness, and process for being the applicant and the owner of a facility.
Yeah.
And how that looks and what you need from us to kind of move down that path and make that decision before our applications are due. Because all of these applications will require an applicant and an owner of a property.
Melissa, I think you were referring to impact funds through Sourcewell?
Impact, yes, thank you, sorry. They've changed it since it originally came out. Thank you.
I guess my question is, I know we're talking a lot with the pods and within Long Prairie. What's the need? And as I sit here, I have to look at the whole county. What's the needs outside of the Long Prairie
Huge.
area for the rest of the county?
Yeah, we had the numbers, just for Long Prairie was 156, and I believe, was it, for the whole county, was it 450? Yeah, I think it was 450 was the total for all
Yeah,
of
I
Todd
think it was
County.
over 450.
So it's a great need. And when we have this childcare appreciation, we were hoping to invite all of the Todd County childcare providers.
Yes, 451 is the Todd County need. The Long Prairie School District is 270, and that would include what Bertram, Gray, Eagle, Long Prairie is kind of where they were looking, or in those zip codes. And then, and then Long Prairie is the 156. And so there is a need across all of Todd County. Being that, and I also, as the Todd County Development Corporation, try to look across all of Todd County as well. There's two big hubs as far as where people commute to go to work outside of, their own communities. And so a lot of people will put their children in, ideally, either where they live or where they work. And so having access here is really important, because that's where people are commuting to come in to go to work. And they can bring their children with them and have them close by during the day. And so just being the hub of the county, it is kind of critical. City of Staples also needs it. They have been kind of doing some stuff on their own. Lakewood's put a lot of effort into that as well over there. I'm sure they would love to have a pod system as well. They're just not as far down the path as Long Prairie is at this moment. I have reached out to all of the communities, met with Osakis and talked about their childcare needs. I have also obviously been very engaged in the Staples one, at least specifically in the past. The other communities, I only had a couple reach back out to me about any interest in kind of learning their needs specifically to them, as well as, kind of moving forward with the project. So it's not on their minds at this exact moment, but they do have that need. But again, if those families that are living in those communities are commuting to either the Long Prairie area or the Staples area, kind of the employment hubs, then those would be the locations that would have the biggest bang for the buck. Is that proper?
Oh, Tim, up in your area, the Bertha School actually did the daycare.
They did their
center, correct?
daycare, the hangout, and then they're looking to expand that, get some infants in there too, whether it's kind of renovating potential wing of the school to get in the younger children too. But that's just in some talking points right now. But yeah, they're filled up. There's a need. I mean, I agree. Countywide. I mean, it's just pretty thankful when an in-home one pops up on social media for an hour, then it's filled up, and so yeah, there's need all over for it. But I mean, I know the school one's a big one because again, like Melissa was saying, that a lot of people are able to bring their kids to work with them then, and teachers getting further and further away. There's a lot of staff that commutes a half hour, 45 minutes to the Bertha area for work. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
So, all the Spitfire, what I'm thinking here, I guess, I think Staples is gonna continue to grow. That Lakewood Health System up there, I get their quarterly newsletter, they're adding doctors and nurses in oncology and heart and cardiac. We got,
Acupuncture, just came up. The acupuncture, the new one.
and we have, I think Staples and Long Prairie both are probably gonna see some growth, if I had to take a guess. And if you get professionals in the healthcare system come, whether they're, sometimes they and their spouse both work for Lakewoods or whatever, and they're looking for daycare. I can see both those communities really needing something. But I think it's gonna be a fairly joint effort between some mayors, some city governments, some local governments, and some, county potentially, participation. I mean, if I had to, I just need like, for me personally, I need more from whatever county it is. Bob, what's his name down there? Morris? Stevens County, right? They're the ones that,
Oh, Stevens from the pod system.
Stevens County that has the
mean-
pod system.
yeah. I mean, I'm interested, I as the representative for this district would be interested in it, but I would really want to be with Jim Kramer, the guy from, whoever's running Staples. I'd want Stevens County to come up here and present to me and say, how does this sit on the books? And if it isn't a daycare facility,
What happens
I
to
mean,
it?
honestly, I'm, from an efficiency standpoint, there's facilities within this city that probably needs to be off our books. So we're adding another facility. It's got to be ironclad. It can't affect the taxpayers as minimal as possible.
It's a good idea to get an example or
I mean,
a
I don't want to
model.
have more meetings, but this is such a big deal. You have to have these key players, whether it's the mayors, one or two of us, whatever the five of us thinks is, I don't think all five of us need to be there at every meeting, but a couple people should probably be at a meeting to see this get kicked off somehow.
Who was the contact person in Stevens County again?
Pardon me?
Who was the person you contacted in Stevens County again?
The county administrator is Becky Young, and she's kind of been spearheading that project, and
And we could ask her questions about
We probably need the.
how much would it
the
cost for the
contract-
landlord?
Every contract that they have, what the wording is, it has to run through finance, has to run through our county people to see where our liabilities are, where our pitfalls are. If it's, we have to have that paperwork.
Absolutely, and we do have that.
Well, yeah,
We just gotta we don't know who to give it to and like what the next step is on that. So, I mean, we have access. Stevens County has sent it to Jackie. We've had it from
We have
the
the
original
lease, we have the
start.
application.
Yeah, so we have that part. We don't necessarily have the county financial
Aspect
look.
of it.
Right, well, they've had a lot, tax with property tax and election, their plate has been super full, but I'm hoping that they can find some time in the next, we got 6 months, it sounds like, and before we're up against the hill. So if Jackie has it, or was gonna get it from you, whatever the case may be, I said I would try to carry the water on this a little bit, as much as I can, so Jackie will coordinate, I'll participate in it. And if we gotta go to Staples to see their mayor, we gotta go to Osakas' mayor, whoever in Stevens County, I'll commit to that. If anybody wants to join me, that's fine. If not, I'll bring it back to the board, so. And try to find time with Denise and other things, so.
Yeah, I'd like to meet with the auditor from
Yeah.
Stevens
I mean,
County, see how they run it
talk-
on their books.
And whoever their auditor is, that's,
Right,
CLA or whoever's, I mean, how does that work?
right.
Could we set that as a goal for our next meeting, to have that information together? Is that doable?
I don't know when your next meeting is.
I didn't, our next meeting?
Well, I don't know what meeting you're talking about. To come here
Work
before-
session, do you have
The
that?
next work session would be
Yeah,
at.
work next-
17th.
The 17th, that'd be too
16th,
soon.
17th.
That's too soon.
Yeah,
That's
we
too
have
soon.
pre-audit
Okay.
going on month of December. and
Yeah,
we're at-
because we're.
Maybe in
we're at
January,
AMC.
in January to
Right.
have.
after the first of the year, I think
Yep.
might be a better timeline.
What's the date on that for the
coordinate
January
it.
meeting?
You can,
Our meetings in January will be
The
the 7th and the 21st.
January 7th, is that?
That's the first one. That's a really, I mean, if you're coming to work
Gonna be a
session,
packed
fine,
one.
but that first meeting is a big meeting for us.
We'll
Because
plan for
it's
the
our,
21st.
We'll do 21st.
21st works.
Yeah.
perfect.
But yeah, I mean, I'm happy to reach out to contacts. Should I kind of work?
work through Jackie and
We
Atlas,
can,
find- so these
we
guys
can connect Lou and Melissa, because I have a lot of that paperwork from Stevens County, and we just haven't really, delved into it. We haven't had like legal look at it or anything.
Right.
And it would be good to have maybe a committee or a group be able to even go look at them, or, have face-to-face conversations with the group.
I think we gotta find some time with Denise and with, our auditors and with, legal before, we start driving across the country or across the state. But we can have Zoom calls. Everybody's got Zoom nowadays. We can have you know, get on the calendar or whoever, start with Long Prairie, they're right here. What is specifically is Jim Kramer and that new team gonna offer? There's a new team there, you know?
And again, January might be
I
a
think,
better time to be
you
able
know,
to
based on the
understand
one
it.
meeting, they wanna know if there's any county skin in this game or not. And I can't tell them that without our finance team, auditor team, and legal team saying,
And we need to know how it functions, not only on the books, but in the meat of the books, because how does this all run through for audit purpose?
And,
How is it all?
and if this is gonna be
Journal entry
county,
and-
then we gotta know the whole county-wide. Is there a better place for these pods in Long Prairie?
Exactly.
Where is the need? You know, if we're talking
Yeah.
county-wide,
that's.
then that's gotta be part of the discussion.
And I have a ton
You know.
of constituents that have Sauk Center addresses. So, I mean, I do have a lot of people that go into the Sauk Center area. You know, I gotta look at that, you know, besides Osakis. In Osakis, all roads lead west to Douglas County. So,
But they cover your kids'
Go west, right?
well, and they do. I mean, there's just a pile of people. I was told Douglas County Hospital employs over 900 and some people. That's just the hospital. That's not Douglas Machines or Brent Engineering or Agard or any of them. So, I mean,
I didn't realize the county owned Douglas County. I mean, they sit them, Charlie and those guys sit on that board.
Yeah, the hospital,
You know, it's called Sanford now.
yeah.
no,
They got a new name on it, Alamere.
Alamere. Still Douglas
Branded
County owned.
Alamere, but it's
Still county owned.
Still county owned,
Yep.
Yeah.
so.
I think a good way to look at that, which would really help identify data-based, is commuting profiles from where are people commuting when they go to work. The state and, so DEED has their analysts that I work with on a regular basis. They can pull that data and actually help explain it, so it really makes sense. And if not them, there is the opportunity to go through Neil Linscheid over at U of M Extension, and we can really pull that information.
Yeah, he loves data.
Yeah, data nerd. That's
He
what I
is
love
data
about him, because I'm not. But I do like to know it. So he can also assist, and he's assisted with a lot of different things that I've done, worked on.
Yeah, we have to know that data before we can just say, this is where we're going to put it, you know? Because everybody's going to be putting in tax revenue.
If Jackie can find time in her
Yeah.
schedule, her and I will, since I'm right here in Long Prairie, I'll come up and sit in her office with her. We'll pour through the contracts as we can with whatever our other team members are here, and then come back and say, you know, this is this. I'm not committing Jackie, I'm just offering that
Offering
if
her
she's got the time.
You got the time, right?
Yeah, oh, yeah,
In
lots
the
of
meantime,
time.
I will work with,
Knows what kind of coffee we like.
I'll work with DEED or U of M Extension to try to pull some data that isn't just childcare need, but more so commuting profiles and, you know, where's our largest hubs? And then we can look at the childcare needs in each of those areas as well, and really, that'll help too. Everybody's gonna say the pod system should be in their community.
Yeah. of
Everybody
course.
needs childcare, and everybody wants a pod system.
Right.
And so pulling that data to back up the decision will definitely help, I think, with
And then-
justification.
Yeah, and then all three of us are going to be on that Zoom call about the impact
Yep.
grant.
Right, the initiative.
The initiative,
The-
yeah,
yeah, the one
foundations.
that Randy had
gonna
mentioned,
talk about
or
the
Commissioner
deed
Newman.
grant.
Mhm.
So,
And so again, we are looking for
I have-
additional funds. It's more so that long-term I'm more concerned about.
I'm feeling good that you're gonna find the monies to do this somewhere, somehow, whether it be private or funding and grants and stuff like that. I'm more, the nut and bolts is what I think Denise and our team has to really sink our teeth into. And we don't wanna go to any, like, you know, commit these individuals that are talked about without doing our due diligence, because they have a lot of resources that will be looking at this also.
that being said, you know, Breitenfeld and Meckles, we've had private conversations, and I probably shouldn't have put that up on the thing. Just don't go and say, hey, I heard you're giving us $100,000. It's just,
Sure they're used to
we had a
attention.
conversation, and
They're interested in
they're
supporting.
interested in supporting, yes.
We know them very well. They're
Yeah.
good people, so.
They're good people.
Okay.
So,
All right, you you have to keep us on task then.
yeah.
And
got
then
one.
I've got coming back to work session on the 17th of January.
The 21st.
21st.
Or 21st?
Yes, it is the 21st.
And then we can, in the meantime, we'll get all of this, pull that data, get those discussions, review the forms, and then we should have a lot more bulk to talk about. But I think this is a really good kind of first step without being like, oh, we got to get it done right now. So I think
Yeah.
this is really helpful to get some direction from you guys.
Yeah.
And I'll talk to, I'll keep Candy Bruder in the know, at the city administrator.
Yeah, if you talk to her or Jim and let me know, I'll certainly be likely, I would attend with you if you want me to.
Okay, good.
Thank you, Lou and Melissa, for, coming back and keeping this in the forefront, definitely, for our commissioners.
Thank you for listening. Appreciate it.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
I gotta write that down. What did I say?
One more thing on our agenda.
I was gonna pack up and go. There's one more thing.
We have this now with,
Oh, I need to have you unclick
Yeah,
and
because we
share.
gotta decide what we're gonna do, if we're going, because something's, if we're gonna do it through policy,
I'm good.
because there's a lot of policy that's gotta get changed if we're gonna go ahead with
It
this.
sounds like it.
Well, we've got a policy meeting
From the
tomorrow morning.
statutes John is citing, it sounds like there's no policy needed, it's already there.
you got the,
Still county policy.
The county policy does not allow him to do this.
it doesn't, actually, if we read it.
If you
It says
read
no
the
in the county
policy, he
policy.
It
can't,
says who's supposed to, if we want to change it,
We could do that.
yeah. Good morning.
Good morning. So we have the updated hiring process, county attorney's office agenda item on work session as we did last meeting. Now, respectfully, Attorney Lindeman isn't here today, and so I don't know if the board wants to address what we have for this topic, or again, table, but just to give you the background, and then maybe you can give us direction. Nellie and I were contacted by the county attorney's office asking to take on a portion of their hiring process for employees in their office, which would include the vetting of candidates that apply for a position, choosing the candidates to interview, conducting the interviews, and then doing the reference checks. And then all other pieces of the hiring process would still continue to be handled by the human resources area. And Nellie asked that that be put into writing by Attorney Lindeman, and he did do that in an email that he signed off on, stating that was what he was supporting or asking for. We're here because we're not sure, we haven't gone through that process again since that happened. We haven't had any applicants currently apply. But going forward, we don't know if this is a process that should be written into a policy or a procedure, or if it's, we're not sure which way to move with it. There are other counties that have this similar process, and Attorney Lindeman did share that. I have reached out to those counties, and they do have it as a process, but I'm not sure where it is exactly written. It's somewhat informal, I think, Nellie. I mean, it's written down, but I don't know that it's in a policy. We're not sure of that. So I guess we're just looking for advice as to where we want to move with this, what the board's feeling, or if you want to wait until Attorney Lindeman is here. It's on the agenda, so.
well, this is the second time it's on the agenda, if I can. I mean, this is what it reads. This is what I think we're referring to. Section 3.04, interviews. Letter C says, interview panel may consist of human resources, department head, manager or supervisor. Additional members may be approved by Personnel Committee upon request. So I'm assuming this is because the interview process was such that that entire department or a large number of team members were in the interview. So to me, I mean, I know John's not here, but this is the second time we brought this up. To me, it says, this is what it says. I mean, if he or any department wants more than what's listed here, they have to get it approved through the Personnel Committee. You know, for whatever reason that was written that way, it's written that way. My concern is that, is this gonna be, is Mike gonna want this now? Is Jackie gonna want this now? Is Denise gonna want this now? I mean, are we gonna continue to have exceptions to the rule? Now, I understand there are times for exceptions for the rule. I mean, probably happens here and there, but you know, clearly this is what the policy says, so. Do I hate things are always black and white? Yeah, sometimes I do, for sure, but sometimes they need to be black and white, so that's my take on this.
If I could add, one other thing is, a year ago, we put on the policy that
Thank you.
commissioners could sit on any interview that they chose to, did not have to. 10 years ago, I sat on a lot of interviews, and that's just kind of disappeared as the years went by. But as a commissioner, we weren't even notified if we wanted to sit in on that interview. So I've got a little bit of a hiccup there also. So, and I don't know where we want to go, if we want to just table this until John can make a meeting.
Madam Chair, if I may, excuse me. It said in that policy if other members could be approved by the Personnel Committee, right?
Yes.
That was the last
Yeah.
sentence.
Would that have been approved if you'd went about it that way? I mean, that's my question for John, if he would have went, or was it approached that he wanted the rest of the team to
No,
sit
we
in?
had no idea.
Okay. So that's
The
my,
interview was taking, and that's why I said as commissioners, we should have been at least notified that if any of the 5 of us wanted to sit in, they could have.
okay. Well, I just know that there's probably a lot of, you know, throughout this building, I'm guessing there's probably a lot of private conversations that happen before an actual applicant applies with department head or whatever. I'm guessing there's some outside stuff that gets taken place. I mean, it's just not always so black and white, but I'm just wondering what the, you know, him wanting the whole team to interview and then not just ask the Personnel Committee first for the approval. I'm just wondering with that, and
Yeah, we had no idea.
if that's a policy, but, and if, you know, if he was feeling that it wasn't gonna be approved. But,
Madam Chair, if I may.
yeah.
Yes.
Speaking as an elected official, and I've been in this spot for 10 years, my process has always gone through HR because of legality. I don't know the HR laws. Now, granted, this is an attorney's office, and I'm not speaking on behalf of them. They probably know that. But I was always instructed by the HR division prior to these ladies that everything had to go through them. There's even applicants in my processes that I never got their names until we were offering the job. So there was no side conversations or things prior to. And even in prior administration now, I even asked if I could see the applicants that didn't make the grading of the test. I was not even allowed to see those because there's HR laws and rules. And so I abided by them. I don't know what the situation is here. I'm just giving you my perspective from my elected position in my office.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
I think what, you know, if I was interviewing if I was HR and our attorney's office or law enforcement, probably the two that, and maybe HHS too, I really wouldn't know what that applicant, their duties should be. I mean, I really wouldn't know what the qualifications should be, because I'm not an expert in that. The HR people are there to make sure that the questions that are, the things that are, you know, the questions that are asked, excuse me, are legally admissible questions. There's not that, you know, one department doesn't know what they should be hiring for their team. Again, you know, I hired someone for a heart surgeon. I couldn't tell you what I should be looking for. Printing? I can tell you what to look for. I know what I want in a printing person, but I don't have, you know, HR is there just to make sure that what I ask is legit, it's not discriminatory, it's not, whatever every law that's been put on the books about interviewing is about. That's really what all they're there for. I hope they would rely upon that department head to say, that person's really qualified to be an auditor assistant or a road deputy or whatever. That decision, I hope, lies within that department's head's, realm. So having HR there again is just to make sure that we're doing this legally, we don't get a lawsuit. So that's my take on it. And if the personnel committee then decides that, hey, that the whole team can do it, the personnel committee made that decision, and then that falls upon that committee. But having them in there, I think it protects us.
Well, I think you gotta think about that too, and like what you do now, it kind of sets the bar, because you never know, 10 years down the road, there might be a new sheriff, and maybe he wants his chief deputy in there, or a sergeant in there. It just depends. Maybe he's not confident what their what their team needs. Maybe he wants someone else sitting in there. So if that goes to personnel, we just want to make sure we're consistent.
And that happens now. Whenever I have an interview, my chief sits with me. That's
Okay.
just automatic.
Okay.
I mean, I don't have to go to personnel and ask them.
No.
I sit in there, my chief sits in there, the HR representative sits in there.
So
And the reason I have HR in there too, and that they need to be in there, is sometimes we're just so Minnesota nice, we're just having a casual conversation with an applicant. And I've had that happen where they kind of look at me going, you probably shouldn't have said that. And I'm just being Minnesota nice. I'm just having a casual conversation with the applicant, trying to make them comfortable.
No, I understand
So-
that. And I'm just saying, if you
Yeah.
wanted more staff involved, if that's our policy, bring it to personnel. And if it gets denied, then I'd like to know the reasons for that being denied.
Well, that's fair. I don't think that's,
I don't think that's unfair. I think
you're one of the 5 commissioners. You should be able to answer it when your constituents ask you that.
Right.
are there, and I don't quite know how to say this correctly, but are there things to do with unions as far as being within the interview process? Rights and wrongs, and that's where HR knows,
So, Madam Chair, my take on this is we wait till the county attorney shows up in person. I would like to have him explain himself publicly. I am expecting probably an email yet today saying that we shouldn't have discussed this today. So I've had about enough of them emails. I work for the citizens of Todd County. That's why I ran for this position. So he can come and sit and explain publicly why he wants this. That's my take on it, so. Like I said, I expect an email probably yet today from him saying, I misbehaved. So, leave it at that.
our policy is
We have a
what it is
policy in
now.
place. We need to adhere to the policy until it gets changed, okay? This thing happened, this thing happened, it happened.
Yep.
We are beyond that. It's happened. So going forward, personally, I think we adhere to the policy. If somebody wants to have their cousin Vinny in there, or, Justin Jefferson wants to come up and interview because we got a great, fast law enforcement officer, go for it. Take it, run it through personnel committee. And
Okay.
they'll approve it or not. That's just my thoughts.
So really, I'm hearing that we would like the office to really come to personnel with that request. Okay.
And adhere to our
To currently what we're doing.
current policy.
Okay. All right.
Okay?
Any other questions or?
I have one more comment. I could even ask John for future, too, if, or any office, if they would want to be interviewed by more of the staff. Maybe the applicant wants to know who they're working with as well, rather than just the county attorney. That could be even on their application, during the interviewing process, if you would like to be interviewed by the full county attorney board or not.
I don't think that should be up to the applicant, though.
Can I speak, Madam Chair?
Yes.
So, Tim, I just want to let you know that some departments will take, I believe Mike has done this before, or the applicant will go down and do a ride-along or, meet the department.
Right.
That, don't have the privilege of sitting in, like who their coworkers would be.
So that's, yeah, that's what I'm trying to get, like, just how do you make, because some applicants might take a tour around the office and be like, no, I don't want to be here, and I don't want to waste their time or our time. But, okay, thank you, Nellie.
Okay. Any further questions? If not, we will close the work session, and the time is 10:41. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
You sure you don't want that?
I am.